1820s until the First World War, around 750,000 immigrants from the farms and towns of Norway settled in the promising lands of Canada and the U.S., referred to collectively as the legendary and hopeful America. Excluding Ireland, no other European country obtained such a high level of American immigration. Many of these quiet yet determined pioneers chose Almaky County as their new homeland. Finding themselves in a brave new world with many changes, these early settlers clung to their religion as a symbol of their old way of life. Many rural congregations sprouted out of the bluffs and valleys of 19th century Almaky, few with a history as rich and colorful as the four old Paint Creek churches. Norway experienced a dramatic increase in population during the early 19th century, causing the rural communities to become overpopulated, only 3 to 4% of the land available for farming or lumbering, the main sources of income for a majority of the population. As a result, Norwegians caught America fever and immigrated in droves to the New World. In northeast Iowa, Almaky County was particularly attractive because the hills and forests reminded them of their native Norway, and Decorah published the Decorah Posten, the largest Norwegian newspaper in circulation in the United States. Paint Creek Township was organized by an immigrant by the name of James Bryson. Bryson arrived in McGregor, Iowa, along with his family on May 8, 1850, planning to seek a home in Garnavillo, the county seat of Clayton County. The Bryson family stayed with one Robert Moore, who had made a claim on some land near Paint Creek. Bryson decided to stake a claim on Paint Creek as well, choosing land that was once a winter camp for local Native Americans. As more Norwegian immigrants poured in and the local village of Waterville began to flourish, the land that was once part of Taylor Township was reorganized into Paint Creek Township in 1852, with Bryson residing as commissioner. The first elections were held in August of that year. In 1850, Norwegian immigrant settlers from Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin, traveled to the area that would become part of Paint Creek Township with the intention of establishing a building to serve as both a church and a school. The settlers constructed a log building where the present Old East Paint Creek Church now stands on Elon Drive near rural Waterville. Ulrich Wilhelm Koren served as first pastor of the new church. Koren went on to become president of the Norwegian Synod, the religious association with whom two of the Paint Creek churches remain affiliated to this day. The first birth on record of the congregation was that of Knud A. Knudsen, occurring on July 13, 1850. The first marriage was solemnized on July 18, 1852, joining Helgi Olsen and Ragnhild Halvorsen in holy matrimony. The first death occurred 5 years later. Due to growing congregation size, a second church was constructed on Maud Road in 1858, the West Paint Creek Church. With the addition of a second church, the work for Pastor Koren became too extensive and he retired. In 1869, the log building of Old East was replaced by a stone edifice. Pastor Ovi Jacob Hort became the second pastor, and the Paint Creek churches enjoyed 17 years of peaceful prosperity. Hort died peacefully in Lansing in December 1879. Under the next pastor, Pastor Hagbert Amandus Hartman, a schism in the congregation was created. At the time, there was controversy among Lutheran Christians concerning the notion of predestination, or the thought that all events are predetermined by God, and that one is destined for their damnation or salvation at the time of their birth. Hartman, a follower of the radical Lutheran theology professor F.A. Schmidt, adopted the confession that a person's salvation depended not only on God, but also a person's conduct or attitude. This created a major rift among the church's patrons. Pastor Hartman was suspended from the Lutheran Synod in 1886 for his radical teachings, and a majority of the members of the Paint Creek congregations broke away from the Synod as well. Those who remained faithful to the old interpretation of the scripture disassociated themselves from the rest and remained a part of the Lutheran Synod. This decision, however, left them without pastor or property. Church services were held in private homes under Pastor Andreas Kittelin Sagen, an assistant of Koren, until 1890, when yet another church was constructed near the East Paint Creek Church, the East Paint Creek Synod Church, located on Grana Drive. 2 years later, a fourth church was also constructed only a quarter of a mile away from its 9 synod counterpart, the West Paint Creek Synod Church. The two original churches prefixed the word "old" to their title to help distinguish between the sects. The old West Paint Creek Church's wooden structure was struck by lightning in 1880 and burned to the ground, unfortunately destroying a priceless painting in the process. The building was promptly replaced by a stone building the following year. Since then, all 4 churches have undergone various projects of repair and renovation, but church services are still held in all but one. The congregation of West Paint Creek Synod Church now holds church services in town at the recently constructed King of Grace Lutheran Church located in Waukon. As the four Paint Creek churches enter the new millennium, they are sure to stand for many more years, a physical manifestation of the patience and determination of the area's first Norwegian settlers.